happy now to be here with author John Boessenecker and talking about his new book, Texas Ranger, The Epic Life of Frank Hamer, the man who killed Bonnie and Clyde. John, thank you so much for being in here.
And thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Wrap up your tour of Austin and continue in Texas with this new book that's really kind of a labor of love for you, you were saying, because of a lifelong fascination with this story.
That's correct. I first heard about Frank Hamer, like so many people, when I saw the 1967 film Bonnie and Clyde, and I became interested over the years. I kept waiting and waiting for a proper biography of him to come out. One didn't. I checked with all my buddies who are Texas historians, and none of them were doing it. So about 5 years ago, I started work, and this is the result.
Wonderful. And again, you're saying that history, for the most part, certainly that film, got it wrong, where the lawman kind of gets portrayed as the bad guy against these anti-heroes, and that's not really the reality of that story. And
sounds familiar given today's anti-police climate, but things really haven't changed that much. So yes, Bonnie and Clyde were sort of folk heroes in the 30s. The newspapers certainly did not idolize them. You can't find anything positive about Bonnie and Clyde in the newspapers of the time. But the film made them the heroes, made Hamer the bad guy, and nothing could have been more wrong, because Hamer was really I don't think there's much doubt, he was the greatest American lawman of the 20th century. Killing Bonnie and Clyde was one of the least significant accomplishments of his career.
Kind of a bold claim, but you back that up in the book to talk about some of the work he did in Austin, because he was in Austin, he worked and lived here in Austin.
He lived on Riverside Drive in Austin. He was senior captain of the Rangers for many years. He started as a young ranger, horseback lawman on the Rio Grande. During his long career, he saved 15 African Americans from lynch mobs, and he led the fight against the Klan in Texas in the 1920s. And even though most Texans in that period were white supremacists, Hamer's life was saved by a black field hand when he was 16 years old, and he was shot in a feud. And he never forgot that, and he spent the rest of his life trying to pay this back to the African-American community.
Kind of working for justice in a way that certainly wouldn't have been popular with the majority at the time.
He took very unpopular positions. He took on the Texas Bankers Association in 1928. They issued a dead bank robber reward, $5,000 for dead bank robbers, not 1 cent for live ones. And corrupt lawmen set up young men and murdered them to collect the rewards, and Hamer was apoplectic about this. He took on the Texas Bankers Association publicly. He arrested crooked lawmen and finally forced a change to the reward system.
In addition to just an amazing story, which you get into much more detail in the book, you can see where it's important to get his story on the record with all the great work he did and not leave history for the villains that sometimes do get romanticized.
That's true, and Bonnie and Clyde are the best example of it. The typical story is, and it's believed by probably most people today, is that Hamer ambushed them, shot them down without mercy, but in Hamer's own words, they died with their guns in their hands, and they were in a rolling arsenal. Both of them, Bonnie had a pistol in her lap, Clyde had a BAR on the seat next to him. Those were there when they were killed.
And again, are you excited now that this labor of love, 5 years in the making, has now finally come out, and you're getting to get feedback from people who maybe have heard a little bit of the story or are interested in Hamer's story?
It's gratifying, yes, that people, they know about Hamer, especially in Texas. He's very well known here, but it's long overdue to have a correctly researched biography about him.
Well, again, the book is out now. People can pick it up anywhere?
Yes, any bookstore. Book People here has it, and I look forward to going forward with it.
Yeah, I know you're kind of making the rounds talking to people about the book too. Well, we really appreciate you taking a little time to talk with us, John Boessenecker. Again, the book, Texas Ranger, The Epic Life of Frank Hamer, the man who killed Bonnie and Clyde. John, good luck with the book, and thank you for chatting with us.
Thanks a million.